Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Virtual Hero Series. My name is Natalie King, and I am the VA Confidence Coach. And today I am delighted to introduce you to Kristie Norris. She is an admin VA, but she specializes in Zoom and all things Zoom. Isn't that exciting? She's based in Mid Wales. I did ask her to tell me where she lived. I couldn't pronounce it, so Mid Wales is where she is. So please do welcome Kristie and say hi, Kristie.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. Hello, everyone.
Oh, it's fantastic to have you here. I met Kristie through a networking group about 8 months ago, sometimes between all the pandemics and in 2020. And we sort of just stayed in touch and got back together. Well, back together, that sounds like we broke up, didn't it? But we've just been in touch. And of course, when I put out the call for any VAs to be on this Virtual Heroes, Kristie put her hand up. I'm really thrilled to have her here because Kristie and she's doing a project which I am a little bit part of, so I'm really excited about that. But she will tell you about that, I'm sure. The first thing I want to get into, and we're going to dive straight in, there's no warm-up, straight into the deep end, is that as you and I have spoken, one of the things that I've mentioned is my passion to get the misconceptions about VAs out of business owners' brains. That was a really weird way of saying it. So isn't it great that I don't edit these videos? But the misconceptions that are around VAs, I want to squash them and get rid of them. And this is the reason for this Virtual Hero series. And at some point, I've got my teeth back in because my speaking is not doing really well today. Oh, but what are some of the misconceptions you've come up with or come across?
I think it's, firstly, when they're looking to hire a VA, they're mistaking it for being like an employee when it comes to what the charges are and forgetting that we are businesses in our own right. So, those fees are a bit higher than they necessarily expect. I think people are hesitant about having a VA for the first time, and understandably so. It's their business, and I would imagine that on the whole, that's probably the first part that they're ready to pass to someone else, and it's all theirs. And you feel that I don't want to share it with anyone else, but at the end of the day, once you connect with a VA, you get to know each other really well. And the whole point is that from the outside, nobody notices whether it's you or your VA, because you should have such a good relationship to know. And if you're communicating on behalf of the business, that you're communicating how they would communicate.
You are essentially an extended arm or another arm of the business owner who you are helping. And like you say, is the client doesn't necessarily know that they're getting the email, that you've written the email, as opposed to whoever they have a contract with, written it, the coach or the IT specialist or the copywriter. And you are there to help people to run their business, essentially, to be able to do what they want to be doing, because you are one of these people who doesn't mind doing admin. Yeah, it's something that can't get my head around, but it's great because people like me who don't like admin can come to people like you who love admin and understand it and can do it.
I think it's also customer service, because that's the other thing. It's so easy once you become that much busier to forget certain things. And if you've got a VA that's keeping an eye on those things for you, we all pride ourselves when we start a business on our customer service. Definitely. Rather than the big guys. So having someone by your side helps keep that going when things have become busy.
Definitely. So what got you started as a VA? What made you decide to take that leap?
Well, for me, I was a travel consultant. I started my own networking group because there was nothing in my local area. I probably ran that group for close to a year, and everybody said, "Why aren't you doing this?" So basically, keeping people organised. That's what I do. Making sure that everyone's organised, everyone knows what's happening, when it's happening, and making it run smoothly on the day. So I thought, okay, I do have over 20 years of administration background, so it wasn't something out of the blue. So it was okay, let's do this. So originally, I was looking to help business trainers in the world prior to COVID, to help find venues and make sure the admin around the event was completed, possibly meet and greet at the venue, so that any early birds I could deal with, so that the trainer could do their part and follow up afterwards. Obviously, things changed, so I had to change. And that is why I now do those things on Zoom.
So hence the Zoom, all things Zoom. So explain a little bit about what it is that you do, how you can help with Zoom.
Okay, well, first of all, if you don't do that many meetings or training sessions, you haven't got a need to have a Zoom license. I have a Zoom license because I have meetings on a regular basis. So firstly, I can offer as part of my package, so that you don't have to worry setting that up. Secondly, it's a case of being that initial contact. So when people are trying to come into the meeting, again, the trainer or the host can concentrate on getting themselves set up, and I'll concentrate on making sure people get in okay. So if anyone's having any issues, they'll message me, I'll make sure they're in, get them sorted. And keep the meeting running smoothly. Keep an eye on the chat box for any questions, to save the host or the trainer having to suddenly say, talk amongst yourselves, and then there's complete silence because nobody ever does. While they scan through the chat, through the lovely comments. Everyone is always so nice on meetings to say how good it is to find the questions. So instead of doing that, I'll answer the simple questions as we go along and make note of the other questions. And then when they're ready for questions, I can read them out. And obviously, if we can check then with the participant if that answered what they were asking.
And that's a fantastic role, because you had to get used to being on Zoom. And if you've got big events and you've all of a sudden, I've been in that situation where it's like, oh, hang on, let me try catch up with any questions that have happened, because you've presented for 20 minutes and nobody's put up their hand with questions, so they're typing them. You can't just stop halfway speaking to answer anything. And then you're like, hang on, I've just got it. So that's a really great thing that you help with. And of course, not everybody has adapted to Zoom. Not everybody has a need to get onto Zoom. When they do have to have the odd one, knowing that they can just call on you and it will all be done for them. It's essentially you are creating a venue for them to just turn up in, hopefully halfway dressed, no matter what's underneath at the bottom half, but then they can just prep themselves like being at any Holiday Inn venue or something that you might go to. It's really great, and I've not come across anyone else like that, so it's nice and niche. Ooh, exciting. So what have been some of the sort of areas that you've come up with? Now, I know you've had to change your business a couple of times last year, but what are some of the barriers that you've come up, or stumbling blocks that you've noticed, or even new VAs?
As like I said at the beginning, I think it is making. I have to say, obviously, you being a confidence coach, the first thing is confidence, because the biggest issue is when you decide on your price, is saying it confidently to the people. And I think, obviously, if you say it with confidence, people are less likely to argue with it. So I do think at the beginning I wasn't conveying it in that way, so people were trying to knock me down in what I was charging. Obviously, because last year was unusual, like I'm sure a lot of people did, had a little bit of a wobble, kept getting out there and doing different things. But I have to say, my networking group that I started over 2.5 years ago was a great confidence boost to me then. And creating my VA group, which I created at the beginning of this year, has given me that confidence once again, because it was one of those things that it was good to get people in the room, all being able to help each other. They were happy that someone set it up so that we could have that meeting place. And so for me, it has moved me on to the next stage of being able to help VAs more as well as help myself.
I'm glad you brought up that group. So this is where I'm helping Kristie. Is I'm the confidence expert within the group, and like Kristie says, she's creating this group to help VAs with whether they have any questions, whether they need help with a technical issue, or whether they cannot do something for a client but they need help to find another VA who can do a specific thing. So it's a great way of collaborating with other VAs, building a community for VAs. And this is something that I personally am passionate about, is collaborations. And when Kristie asked me if I'd be interested, I'm like, hell yeah, this is like a no-brainer. There's collaboration involved. And I get to talk about my favorite topic, confidence. And I help people. So more there. So I'm really pleased you brought that up. You've mentioned confidence. So what does confidence mean to you?
I think it's about shouting out loud and proud what you do. It's one of those things that it's so easy just to go, I'm a VA. Please come to me. When you actually need to be a lot louder, I'm a VA, and I'm not just a VA. I am a VA, and I want to help you.
Wow.
I think even though I wasn't literally whispering, that was probably what I was doing. I needed to shout louder about what I do, and
get comfortable in the role of the VA and to know your skill sets. I mean, like you said, you've got 20 years of admin experience behind you. So you have all that knowledge, all those skills and that wisdom that you've gathered over the years. So yeah, I am a VA instead of I'm a VA. I love that. I really love that. So tell me about your confidence and the sort of the journey that you've been on with your confidence.
Okay, well, I became self-employed in 2017. It was not something I ever intended to do. I was made redundant. So after trying for a few roles, it was a case of, okay, I need to figure something out. So I do have to say that at that point, I was a travel consultant. And it was great because I was part of a franchise. So in lots of ways, you've got the support that you needed. But I'd never been in travel before, never been self-employed before. And it's an extremely steep learning curve. And I'm not silly. I know that when you become self-employed, you don't become successful overnight. I don't think many people do. You're very lucky if it happens. So I didn't hold that as a problem because I knew that you need to persevere, keep going and keep moving. But it started to move up. My networking group was very successful. And I'm very pleased that 2.5 years on it's still there, because in my area that doesn't happen very often. They normally peter out and no one comes anymore. And by doing that, then made that change. I had people, we all know it's great. Our family and friends will always tell us that we're doing a brilliant job and that we're great, and that's wonderful. But when you have complete strangers actually saying that you're amazing, you're inspirational, I never thought I'd ever be described as inspirational. And I have to say that blew me away.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm sure well deserved as well. Like you said, you've been running this. I mean, it's quite something to run a network group, let alone having it still going 2.5 years with a pandemic in between, or a year of pandemic. So that's really good. What blocks you in confidence? What blocks do you still find with your confidence?
Do you know, I think at the moment, I feel on quite high, because obviously it's been a great week. I've got a new job that I'm starting next week with a global client. So that's absolutely amazing. Didn't think I would be working with such a big client. So that's
great.
That has helped my confidence massively. So nothing is coming to mind at the moment, but it doesn't mean that it isn't, because obviously it's always highs and lows. I'm on a high week.
You're having a good week, and that's brilliant. So, as you know, I'm a confidence coach, and this is where I give my guests an opportunity to ask me anything about confidence, so any sort of burning question or answer that you're wanting about confidence. Now is the time that you get to ask me.
Actually, there is one question. I think the one thing that always gets me is when you've spoken to a client, they seem really eager and want to work with you, and then you have silence. I think that is where it knocks my confidence, because you think, okay, all looks good. They've said they want to work with you, and then total silence. Now I do try to reassure myself, because it has happened, and then something has happened in their life for whatever reason, and that's why they've not come back to you, and they've come back and it's happened, and you've done that piece of work with them. But I think it's still trying to get over and trying to keep reminding yourself, how do you keep going? Because you just keep thinking, what have I done? What can I do? What should I do? Because at the end of the day, being a VA, you know that the person that you want to work with is a busy person. So you don't want to bombard them with messages. And luckily, once you've had some experience and know that it's not anything that you've done, it helps a little, but it still niggles there.
This is a little bit on the fear of rejection, and this is sort of where this falls under, is the fear of rejection. We don't like to be rejected or told no, or like, no, I don't need you. But again, it comes down to when, like you said, when they've said they want to work with you, you've obviously sent them a follow-up email or message, or however you communicate, to get anything in place, because that's the next step. And then there's silence and nothing. Big black void is there, and it's like, okay, what do I do now? And this is where the fear of rejection comes in. It's like, oh, what have I done wrong? What could I have done better? Did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? Did I look funny? Oh my God, did I smell funny? What is it? And this is where you can go down this rabbit hole. This little voices going in your head and takes you down this rabbit hole. So one of the things to do is, first of all, is remind yourself of your achievements. Remind yourself of what you have done. Like you said, when you get this again, remind yourself of this new client that you've got. Remind yourself of the testimonials that you've had from clients. So what you're doing is you're reaffirming, actually, you know what, I am good enough. I can do this. It isn't something that I've done. You need to remind yourself of what you have accomplished already. And then again, it's to take it out of you, about you, and look at it from their point of view. So like you said, have they been really busy? Something's come up. Are they firefighting something within their business? Is there been a family situation? Or have they just put that on the back burner for a week or two while they're catching up with something else? So it's almost taking emotion out of it and thinking, okay, the busy business owners, something that's come up. Okay, that's fine. They do want to work with me. They will come to me when I'm ready. And it's just, it's about really looking at it without the emotion involved. Because I haven't, put down the phone and go, well, I know I've said I'm going to work with her, but that's it. I'm never going to work with her. Oh my God, she's not good enough. It's not been like that. It's much like you said, life gets in the way. And I know I've done that sometimes, as I've spoken to somebody and said, yes, we need to have a chat. And 3 weeks later, I'm like, oh my word, what happened? 3 weeks has gone by. You blink and 3 months goes past. You think, what happened? So it's just about taking the emotion away and starting to look at your skills. Remind yourself of your skills. Remind yourself of your experience. Remind yourself of your achievements, the great testimonials you'll have, your wonderful networking group that you've got, new clients that you're bringing in. And just say, you know what, Kristie, you've got this. You are worth it. You're just really busy at the moment, and they'll come to me when they're ready. Does that help you a bit?
It does, yeah. It is something that you just need to remember, because I think it's one of those things that, like you say, that they're busy and they need your help, and trying to get them to that point.
But they're busy.
But they're busy, yeah.
It's like a vicious circle, isn't it?
And it is exactly that. And, when I get messages, I want to answer them like yesterday. And obviously.
But this is why you are really good at admin, and you are helping to organize people's lives. Because I will talk to you about confidence, but don't ask me about emails and messaging and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, no, that's boring. I don't want to think about stuff like that. And this is busy. So just remember that. Just remember, it's not about you. It's just something's come up, or they're just busy, but they will reach out when they get to that point when they're finally able to reach out. So what is the best bit of advice that you've ever been given in your life?
Oh, see, now you should have forewarned me on that one.
Oh, I like to keep people a little bit on their toes.
There's so many. I think actually the one thing is one speaker always said that, if someone doesn't work with you, do not worry, they're not your tribe. If they're not listening, they're not your tribe. And the thing is it's right, isn't it? We all work with people that we get on with. No matter what you're like as a person, there's always going to be someone out there that won't want to work for you and work with you, and that they'll be a better person that they can work with.
To be honest, do you want to work with everybody?
Exactly. No, I don't.
No. We can't help everybody, and we don't want to help everybody or work with everybody, because there's just, and that is some great advice, is if they're not listening, they're not your tribe. I love that. I think that's really some good advice there. So what is a top tip that you can share with us today?
I have to say, one thing I've learned, I will always say that I need to be better at social media. And you always hear, when you're told about social media, it doesn't matter how many times you put it out there. If you feel like you're putting it out there too much, well, you're probably doing it just about the right amount, to be totally honest. And I think they are right.
You're putting it out there and you feel like you're putting it out there too much?
Yes. Yeah, you think you can just, you're going to annoy people because they're going to see it again and again and again. Well, I will say now that in recent months, I have got posts that I recirculate on my social media. And for me, of course, you need to remember, every day, more than likely, every day, you're at least connecting to one new person. I've not had one person say, I've seen that already, don't send it to me again.
And the thing is, you don't always see everything.
No, exactly. You don't. You're getting comments from different people each time that it goes out. Obviously, it's just being a mindful of what content you're putting out. But say I know I need to put more new content out there, but in the meantime, at least I know that there's a circular of information rather than just the same message day in, day out going out. And as I say, you're probably connecting to more than one person every day, and just think about those people that are more likely to see it. So that would be mine.
Yeah, and one marketing person once told me that you're the only one who sees every bit of your content. Nobody else does.
Yeah.
So that is a good tip, is just keep sharing your content, because you're not sending it out too much, even though you think you are, but you're not really.
I think it stops the overwhelm. If you know that you've got things going out. I felt bad at the beginning because I wanted to put more new things out, but you have to decide which bit is the most important part for me now to grow my business. Mm-hmm. It is important that you're out there on social media, but it's if you're going to spend more time on your social media than actually managing to onboard a client, then you need to rethink.
Yeah, prioritize.
Mm-hmm.
So how can people find you?
Okay, well, they can find me on my website, which is www.etagirlfriday.co.uk. They can call me on 01686 246 246, and they can find me on LinkedIn or Facebook.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing, or having put your hand up when I start the call. And it's great tips that, to keep sharing your social media posts, because not everybody is seeing them. And if people are not listening, they're not part of your tribe. So don't try and convince people about how great you are, because the right people will know that. They will hear you and they will see you and they will know that you're great. You don't need to go and try and haul in these ones who are not part of your tribe. Rather build your tribe. So I love that bit of advice. That is some great advice that you shared with us. I'm also really excited for this group that you're creating. So any VAs that are listening to this, come and join the group. And that is
VA Connect and Collaborate, and it's on the first and third Friday at 1:30. It would be great to see you there.
And it's also, you can get any information from Kristie on LinkedIn or anything, or message me about the group as well. So it's exciting. I'm really excited for Kristie's plans about this group. It's big plans in the making, so watch the space. Thank you so much, Kristie, for sharing your time with us and giving us some tips and some advice. And thank you for spending your time watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and got some useful knowledge out of it. And until next time, I'll see you. Okay, bye.